to make, but regardless, it's a client. So
Yeah.
I've got to shop for them, and I've got to shop for other folks and do marketing. And so, but yes, I do try to control my actual client business. So we actually have showings, or even need a properties, if I'm setting appointments and things like that. I agree. Most folks are willing to work within my schedule.
Oh yeah, they really are, because they don't know the difference. If you say I've
Right.
got this, and this available, investors can be very lucrative. I worked with a lot of investors, and but I was also tougher on them, because I knew that once they found you and you were consistent, whereas most of the time other people weren't, or they just didn't know enough,
Right.
then they were loyal. They were cheap, but they were loyal.
Right. Well, and the key is just business, right? So cash flow, activity, hopefully get my signs out there. They've got the money, so if I can find properties they're interested in buying, great. Flip it around. I've got a couple that want to buy and hold. So those won't be a lot of transactions. I've got one in particular that's looking to buy and flip. So the criteria is different for each. So I'm trying to keep an eye on those that are out there. But yeah, so it's just a matter of being adaptive. You've got to be adaptive. It's where you put in the long hours, at least certainly early on in building a business, and it effort in the follow-ups, because at the end of the day, if the market shifts, your business needs to be able to shift with it.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. So, but I have some agents. I got to tell you, they're just kicking it out. I mean, in some cases, some of these agents are home with kids. They just can't work. So, I know Carrie. She's up in Fairfax. We just talked yesterday. She makes about 300,000 a year. She's literally doing 50-50s with agents that literally can't get out.
Oh, wow.
It's not a bad model.
No, it helps to know those people. I don't know anybody that's bringing in so much business and can't get out that they're willing to share.
I know, really, but this is bits and pieces, and then they just know her, and she's a really nice person too.
Right.
So it could be just relationships. So anyway, okay, I've got the first person on, so I will talk to you when you get on.
All right, yeah, I'm going to go hit the restroom real quick, and then I'll be on in a couple minutes.
All right, bye.
All right, bye.
Hey, everybody, and welcome. Today we're doing Women, Money, and Power. Yeah. So I wanted to let you know that I want to introduce Gary Garrison, who's our presenter for today. Now, I don't know that any of you, I'm looking at the list, I don't think any of you don't know Gary, but he is a man of many talents. He was a senior level IT consultant for over 20 years. He is my personal IT person who takes care of my computer, and I will tell you, it's never been working better. He also is our IT coach. So definitely a man of multiple talents, as a full-time realtor, which he's been for over 12 years, but he's also now an independent health, life, and annuities agent, which is extremely valuable to me and will become to you. So for him, he's always been driven to really learn and to better himself, believing in the old adage, knowledge is power, and he's always been driven to help others with what he has learned. And today he will present Alliance's Women, Money, and Power webinar. So without any further ado, here is Gary.
Thank you very much, Cindy. I really appreciate the intro, and welcome everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar. As Cindy mentioned, this is Allianz's Women, Money, and Power presentation that they've put together for us. If you're not familiar with Allianz, Allianz actually was founded in 1896 here in the United States in good old Minnesota, and they are now an international financial services organization. With over 85 million customers and providing services in over 70 countries. So they are just one of the many examples of really strong financial organizations out there that are providing, insurance-based type products that really fill many financial needs for people, I guess, of all walks of life. So I'm very happy to actually do this presentation that they've provided. And this actually was something that came about as a result of a study that they had conducted back in 2019, also titled Women, Money, and Power. So that's kind of the connection there. So, do you feel uncertain about your financial future? Are you wondering where to start or where to go from here? Then just know that you're not alone. Welcome again. My name is Gary Garrison. I'll be your host for this webinar, and congratulations on being here today. Taking the time to attend this webinar is an important first step in helping manage your financial future. And I know how busy everyone is. And so I do truly appreciate you taking the time, the next 40 minutes or so, to be here with me to go through this. Housekeeping. So I was muted by the host. I'm now unmuted by the host. Okay, it looks like we've been having some technical difficulty. So hopefully I am back on. So just a couple quick administrative notes here. As indicated before, I think on the first slide, I'm actually an independent producer, independent health, life, and annuities agent with Asset Marketing Systems and Value Insurance Professionals. I'm not an employee of Alliance Life Insurance Companies or any of their subsidiaries or affiliated companies. And this particular presentation was compliments of Allianz for use by financial professionals like me that have the ability to be able to market their financial products. So I just wanted to make sure, they wanted to make sure that that was out of the way, as well as to make sure that you're aware that this information is really just being provided for informational purposes only. If you are looking for any fiduciary, tax, or legal advice, and you're certainly encouraged to consult with the appropriate professionals for that advice. So with that said, we'll start, many who have studied women of all ages and walks of life tend to lack the understanding with how comfortable or uncomfortable and the lack of confidence that many women have with when it comes to financial planning strategies. In general, research has shown that even though many women are well educated, have successful careers, are managing their daily household finances, women often lack confidence when it comes to their financial strategies. So keep in mind, financial strategies, as they're referring to them, are basically, planning for your overall financial future. And it's all kinds of different types of investment options, insurance options, and things like that, above and beyond more than just managing essentially the household books. And today's presentation is based on our own Allianz Life Insurance Company of North America. It's there, our commission research, and as I mentioned, titled Women, Money, and Power, and also includes government data and findings from other industry leaders inside this presentation. And know that Allianz and its affiliated company, Allianz Life Insurance Company of New York, they're committed to researching the financial needs, behaviors, and attitudes for women. And so, certainly a big thank you for being here today. In order to help you get the most out of this webinar, I actually emailed, there's a number of activities in the presentation, and I actually emailed to each of those that had registered prior to the roster coming to me last night, a financial discovery journal, as well as a worksheet. My hope is that you did see that. You were able to open those up before the webinar began. If not, if you could do me a favor and check your inbox or check your spam folders just in case it got routed there, that'll be great. If you registered afterward, or if you're not seeing it at any of those locations, please do me a favor. You can just send a chat to the group publicly. Just let me know whether or not you've received them, and if not, then I'll be sure to get them to you after the webinar. Okay. And again, that's the reason I sent those to you, is because they will actually help you get the most out of this particular webinar. So as we go through this information, I encourage you to make any notes of any insights you gain, that may be useful to you and your family. They could be ideas, questions, or even concerns. There's plenty of space inside of this discovery journal for you to be able to take notes from this and put your thoughts down. Keep in mind that this is all strictly optional. You will not be put on the spot at all. And know again that I'm certainly glad that you're here to learn more on this important topic. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so today what we'll cover is why you need a financial strategy. We'll help you understand who you are financially, and then we'll review steps to take to get started on your financial futures. So the first step is, taking a look at, why you need a financial strategy. So the big question is, as a woman, why do you need a financial strategy? And there are actually many reasons, including life-changing events. Life can come at you pretty fast, and we've certainly seen that this year. The question is, are you financially prepared for those life-changing events that might occur? Also, too, your roles are evolving, and you have more responsibilities than ever before. Especially you as business owners, as real estate agents, have a lot more additional responsibilities. But not unexpectedly, and certainly as revealed by the study, like many women, you may feel financially insecure. You might also find yourself as part of the sandwich generation you see on the bottom of the screen there, which I know we as real estate agents see most often from the other side. As agents, a number of families, multiple generations being joined in a household, you may find yourself in that same situation yourself, having to not only care for children, but also aging parents as well. And not surprisingly, or I wouldn't be surprised to know that, many folks are probably experiencing multiple of these simultaneously. The good news, though, out of all of that is that you certainly can be prepared. So let's take a look at each of these in a little bit more detail. So first, how are women's roles in society evolving? And one way discovered through this study, and again, a number of other data elements, is according to the latest National Center of Education statistics, out of all college attendees in 2018, 56% were women. And according to the latest U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, earnings for women with college bachelor's degrees or higher have increased 36% since 1979. And that's an inflation-adjusted basis compared to just 19% of an increase for men. And that's a huge accomplishment. And with that, you need to think about all of the financial opportunities then education can open up in your life. How will you manage those opportunities? How will those opportunities affect your long and short-term financial goals are big questions. And of course, having a financial strategy in place can certainly help you with that. The next area that your role as women has been evolving is in society and the economy. And we want to take a look at some interesting statistics that they have found. Interestingly, women are the sole or main breadwinners in 38% of U.S. households. And the percentage of women in the workforce, and these are women ages 16 and older, has increased significantly since 1950, from 34% to, and the latest data was from 2016, it's increased up to 57%. So with women out in the workforce earning money for themselves and their family, there's an increased financial earning power and, of course, additional responsibility that comes with that. And a financial strategy, again, can help you manage your income effectively to meet your financial goals now and in the future. And as we saw in the previous slides, women have accomplished a lot in society and in the economy. While making all of that impressive progress, level of financial responsibility has been increasing. Looking at the numbers, we see that almost half of women consider themselves to be the CFO of their household, and almost half consider themselves to be more financially savvy than their spouse or partner. And with that responsibility comes need for more financial education and certainly more of a need for a financial strategy to manage the extra accountability. Also, too, I think it's pretty common knowledge, for at least for most of the folks that I've spoken with, that women have a longer life expectancy than men do, and barring anything else that may happen in your life, the numbers statistically show that certainly at some point women will be solely responsible for their finances. And unfortunately, that could happen very late, which I think also reinforces the notion of additional education. If you want to be prepared for that possibility, it definitely makes sense to have a plan in place and to make sure that you have that financial education that you need, so that if you were to experience this particular event, that you have the confidence in knowing that you're going to be okay, and that you know what to do or who to turn to for continued assistance. Which brings us to our first Discovery Journal exercise. How do you feel about your financial future? Now, this is, again, typically a seminar or workshop, so we won't spend a lot of time, as would be typically done with these in each of these individual sections. What I do want to do is just point them out. And if you do follow along in the journal, please take a minute, consider, filling out each of those sections as we hit them is really good information for you. There's, again, should be plenty of space within the journal, be able to take additional notes and ask questions. And if you do have questions, if you could do me a favor and share them with everybody, but do so at the end. That way there I can address them all in order. That would be great. That would certainly be a huge help. I know as far as feelings go about financial future, I know it's not exclusive to women. I know that many folks, especially with the last 21 years, with the stock market ending below where it began, 7 and now looking like 8 of the last 21, if this year perhaps continues on this path, more and more people are uncertain about their financial future. Add to it this pandemic, which just, we certainly knew would be a possibility, but would hope that would not be something we would see in our future, or certainly in our lifetime. We're now dealing with this, and many of us aren't prepared, and certainly are more now aware of what we should be thinking about when it comes to a financial future. As far as the study goes, our experience and information shows that, most women do feel financially insecure. And again, that's not exclusive to women. And certainly more and more folks with the events that we're now experiencing today are in that same position. Okay, so with that financial insecurity, we're seeing approximately 40% of the women reporting running out of money in retirement as the top worry that keeps them up at night. And that's not surprising. It's not uncommon, especially, for, us, for those of us in the financial advisory business, to come across folks that share that exact same worry and initially look at setting up or developing a plan where they would rather cut back on their expenses in order to ensure they've got enough money to last them. And there are certainly better strategies for that. In fact, there are some lingering effects of traditional values that may also contribute to the feelings of financial insecurity. And we'll talk about those next. While women have been forging new roles, society has been slow to keep pace with the new reality. For generations, women typically weren't educated on matters of investing and finance at home or in school. Instead of advising them to be knowledgeable and financially well prepared, parents tend to encourage the daughters to marry well. And few counselors, school counselors, encourage young women to pursue careers in insurance and finance. It's important for us to become educated and confident so we can pass on valuable information and lessons to our own children and others that we care about. And according to the 2019 Women Money Power study, of the most valuable advice women should pass on to their daughters and granddaughters, 84% say to start planning early, 77% say to be self-reliant, and 71% say to have a financial plan. Which brings us to our next Discovery Journal exercise. What money messages have you learned from your childhood? Were you taught anything special specifically, or are they general messages you learned by observation? I know certainly in our household, common saying was, put all your eggs in one basket. And I think that was probably applied to more than one particular scenario, but certainly was something that was relevant when it came to, financial security discussions within our household. Another reason why you need a financial strategy is to prepare for life events. As I mentioned earlier, each stage of life brings events that can reshape your financial needs and concerns, and can also impact your ability to plan for and achieve your long-term financial goals. Having a strategy in place now helps you better manage future life events. The concept of relating these life events, though, is not new. However, consider that many women arrive at these needs and decisions from a more emotional, value-driven perspective than an economic one, and oftentimes they occur right at a life event itself, which makes things a little bit more difficult. So, with that in mind, we'll talk about some of the life events and how they can impact, your financial security, beginning with career planning. So, as one gets started in a profession, certainly if they change jobs, they decide to go back to college, or if they're, moving up the career ladder, they want to make sure that they're covered financially for the costs as well as any unexpected expenditures. Getting married is a big one, starting a family, having a child, sending a child to college, or caring for an aging parent. Changes in your family status means changes in your financial needs, and also has an impact as to how you define financial security. And whether you're buying a first home or downsizing to a condominium, you need appropriate financial strategies to help you purchase and protect the things that you hold valuable. And for most everybody on the webinar today, real estate agents are independent business owners. It's important to recognize, the value. Becoming self-employed, starting a business, or taking on more responsibility, those are big steps, and they present new challenges and add in additional responsibilities. And financial security actually helps form the basis of your business success. And I think for many of the agents that have been in business for some time, I think, you've at least gone through some point in the growing that business where you recognize the stronger you were financially, the more confident you were about the money being available and the resources being there, the more aggressive you were able to be in actually growing and building your business. So financial security really plays a big part in that. Also, life event starting over. If you become divorced or widowed, sadly, much of that is happening today as a result of this virus. Or if you find yourself in an empty nest situation, changes to your family dynamics may involve challenges that you didn't originally plan for, and your financial strategies can change unexpectedly because of that. And then a big one is retirement. If you want to maintain your standard of living during retirement, and it's something that certainly I would encourage you to strive for. None of us would want to be in a position where we have to forego vacations or traveling, or what have you, simply because, we're afraid of running out of money. So you would want to plan for maintaining a standard of your standard of living during the retirement years. And to do so, you definitely need to plan carefully. And if you've sat on or participated in any of my Social Security puzzle workshops or webinars, then you already know that Social Security alone may not or will likely not be enough. So making appropriate financial decisions now can have an enormous impact on the dynamics of your future. And then, as I talked about earlier, the final reason you need a financial strategy is, of course, this concept of sandwich generation. And if you are in it now and experiencing it, or if you anticipate experiencing it, being caught between both raising children and caring for an aging parent, it's extremely difficult and can be very challenging financially. It's become more common as the average life expectancy increases and more women have children at older ages. So we've got multiple factors there. In fact, when Social Security was implemented, the average lifespan was just 60, actually was 60. So most people weren't even living long enough to retire at age 65. Now we have the average lifespan for men 83 and women 86. So we are living much longer, creating those challenges and, again, likely scenarios for the sandwich generation. Plus also too, we've changed economically where we now have more and more dual income families. And so with the dual income families, oftentimes starting a family gets delayed, as a career gets started early on. And so that is creating this environment where the sandwich generation, again, is becoming more and more prevalent. So establishing a financial strategy can certainly help you prepare for any financial needs you might face with your parents, such as long-term care, while also covering needs for your children like college planning. And I can help you establish a financial strategy early on and then help you modify it according to your changing financial needs and goals as you move through these different stages in your life. And in addition to establishing a financial strategy, what else can you do if you are in or anticipate being in the situation? So here are some things that I can do with you to help reduce the emotional and financial impact. Starting with setting financial goals and reevaluating them frequently, putting together a solid plan to manage your debt, create a retirement strategy for you, and certainly help put a plan together that enables you to save for things such as children's college expenses early on, or you want to save to be able to help pay for weddings, etc. Also, too, with the sandwich generation issue, again, becoming more and more common, you may want to consider doing some legacy planning with your parents and their estate planning attorney to learn about their strategies, such as passing on life lessons and values, distribution of personal possessions, distribution of financial assets, and any final wishes and directives. Just remember, you don't have to tackle all of this alone. Financial professionals like me and estate planning attorneys as well can work with you and your families to help establish your plans and put them into action. All right, which brings us to our next Discovery Journal exercise. What life events are you currently experiencing? So you'll want to definitely take a few minutes to write some of those down. How are you feeling about those events? You'll want to make a note of what challenges are you experiencing with that particular event, that you were not prepared for, and what life events do you foresee in the future? So again, this journal is really a great place to be able to capture this information for you. Okay, and so, now that we've looked at some of the reasons why you need a financial strategy, you might be feeling a little overwhelmed. I would think that at this point, you're probably, of the opinion that putting a financial strategy together sounds like a great idea, but it also can be a huge undertaking. At least that's what you're feeling. You might not feel like you can do it alone. And so, of course, your question is who can help you or who will help you? You can ease the planning process by getting information, the support you need from a knowledgeable financial professional like me. I'll be happy to help answer any questions that you may have, and there's certainly no costs or fees for those services. That's just the nature of this business. in moving forward, don't let your own personal lack of financial knowledge keep you from reaching out to learn more about managing your money. A lot of folks are in the same boat. There's just too much to know. And I'm glad that I've partnered with, a strong organization. They're responsible for about 25% of the annual insurance business, specializing specifically in my area of interest, which is financial advising and retirement planning, because there's just too much information to know. Just like in real estate, there are a lot of different areas that you can branch off in, and we just can't know everybody else's job better than they. The key for us is just to find those professionals that we're comfortable with, that we can trust, that we know that are working to our best interests. So don't be intimidated by money and saving for retirement issues. Learning how to manage your finances, might be a different experience for you, everybody will handle it differently, but it doesn't have to be hard. I can use my experience and expertise and resources to help you. Besides helping you gain knowledge about managing your money and working with a knowledgeable financial professional can help you put your mind at ease. As we had seen with this 2019 survey, 86% of the women reported earning better return on their money. 83% felt more confident and better prepared for their financial future. And 82% reported better being able to set financial goals and determining the way to achieve them. And additionally, 90% of women would recommend working with a financial professional to other women. So these are pretty telling responses from the survey regarding the benefits of reaching out to the appropriate professionals for guidance and not being afraid of our own lack of knowledge. One of the issues that we've seen, and again, this isn't exclusive to women, it just happens to be a women-oriented webinar, but too many people wait until a life event happens before they ever take any action to put together a strategy or to address their needs. And it's certainly a lot more noticeable today, again, because this virus thing just kind of came out of the blue. The key in all of this is just be proactive instead of reactive. Let me help you create a financial strategy now to prepare you for anticipated changing life events and to help make sure that you're able to stay on track whenever those life events occur. So up to this point, we've covered some key reasons why you need a financial strategy, and we've covered some of the benefits of working with a financial professional like myself that can provide for you. So, what's the next step? So the next step is that, we need to work together to understand who you are when it comes to money matters, and then working together according to your needs. So while most financial professionals will ask you many questions about your financial situation, they don't actually take the time to learn about the best way to work with you in developing your strategy. So here's my approach to understanding who you are financially. And, based on the research and the responses through the 2019 Women, Money, and Power, Allianz survey, we found that typically women fell into one of 5 financial personalities. And they are a financial initiator, financial analyzer, collaborator, avoider, or a dreamer. And so let's talk about each characteristics of these just real quick so that we're on the same page with what that really means. So you may be a financial initiator if you are self-assured, empowered, and optimistic, if you are clear about your financial goals and how to achieve them, and you tend to take the initiative to work with a financial professional for information and guidance. You may be a financial analyzer if you have a good understanding of household finances. You thoroughly research investment opportunities and track investment results, financial results from those investments. are a comparison shopper, an avid saver, and rarely purchase something you can't afford, and you have worked with a financial professional in the past. You may be a financial collaborator if you are in a relationship, you're healthy, happy, and cooperative, provide a family financial comfort and stability, and you share equally in financial decisions with your partner, including working with a financial professional. So you're working together with them, not having just one partner work with the professional. In the financial avoider category, could be if you are overwhelmed by all the financial choices available, you avoid taking steps to resolve financial problems due to lack of financial knowledge. You know you would benefit from seeking the help of a financial professional, but you have trouble taking those first steps to actually get that assistance. And then finally, you may be a financial dreamer if you are intimidated by money and investing, feel helpless, hope someone will take care of your financial problems, and defer all financial matters to your partner. If you are someone that you feel you fall into the financial dreamer category, you may have the most to gain by consulting with a financial professional. Which brings us to our next discovery journal exercise. Which of the 5 personalities do you most closely identify with? So this is going to be based on your thoughts, your feelings. You know, which one do you most closely identify with, and what qualities do you see in yourself when it comes to, your financial strength? So when you get the chance, you'll definitely want to make a note of that in the journal. All right. So, why identify what your personality is? Well, because knowing our individual financial personality will help us better understand who you are and money matters, and in turn, better understand your values, decision-making processes, and personal approach to planning for your financial future. This personal insight, beyond simply collecting economic data, asking the questions about, how you are and what you've done, will enable us, me to provide information and direction that's specifically suited to you and your needs, and will make it easier for us to work together. And that's certainly why we do it. And so now here's a quick on how we do it. So this actually, what you're seeing on your screen is a financial personality worksheet. In that email that I'd sent with the financial discovery journal, I also included a link for you to be able to download this personality worksheet. And this can be used to easily to determine your financial personality based on your responses to the questions on the worksheet. When you fill out the questions, you'll score the responses, and then together we can review the results and further determine your unique individual needs and concerns. And what will be interesting to see will be how well these results lined up with what your thoughts and feelings were, and the exercise 4 in the journal, where you kind of identified based on your own feelings which category you felt that you fell into. So it'll be interesting to see how they align. All right, so now it's time to get started, and that means preparing for your first meeting. So for preparing for our first meeting, we will discuss the 3 steps. Identify your most significant financial goals and concerns being step 1. Talking with your partner if you have one, and certainly inviting them along, having them involved in the conversation, and completing the financial personality worksheet. So starting with step 1, identifying your most significant financial goals and concerns is, again, that's going to be the first step. And the discovery journal, exercise 5, will actually assist with completing that step. So at exercise 5, you'll write down your 3 most important financial goals. And then you will also do exercise 6 by writing down your 3 biggest financial concerns. And they can be anything. Maybe you want to buy a new house in 5 years. Maybe you're trying to save money to send your child to college. Maybe you're thinking about the future where you might need to provide assisted living for your parents, or maybe even you're just planning to retire. who knows? So you would definitely want to make sure you jot down your three biggest financial concerns at exercise 6 to help with this step 1. And then step 2, you want to invite your partner, if you have one, to the meeting, and certainly prepare the information together. You want to be aware, though, that typically, men and women approach these financial areas with different perspectives in mind. So with that in mind, you'll want to go and actually repeat exercises 5 and 6, but together. So you want to identify your 3 most important financial goals together and your concerns as a couple. And as you're looking at the results, it may help or maybe some fun actually to do some role playing and try switching the roles and perspectives and to see the different types of results that you may end up getting with that. And then finally, step 3, respond to the questions on that financial personality worksheet. And again, take a look at that with a sincere, I guess, intent of identifying, exactly where you are when it comes to, the type of person you are with respect to your financial understanding, your financial comfort level with preparing for the future and dealing with all of the different questions and concerns that go along with that. For the meeting itself, you want to bring the completed worksheet to the meeting. And when you do that, we can certainly then determine the best way to work together based on your financial personality. You can also feel free to email that to me ahead of time, ahead of the meeting, and make it a little bit easier for me to come prepared. But in any case, the worksheet will definitely help both of us make sure that we are taking the best approach for you, and we're focused on those concerns and goals that are best for you. And then the final step is just to go ahead and take control of your financial future, by scheduling a meeting, with me, at some point today or over the next week, at whatever point that you're comfortable with it. I know this is top of mind for a lot of people. So, certainly the sooner the better while you're thinking about it, I think would really be the best approach. You can contact me via email, phone, text, and for those forms, these handouts that I had emailed you, I did add my contact information to the top of those so that you have them, have that information readily available for you. So in closing, we've learned why you need a strategy, identified the benefits of working with a financial professional. Remember, knowledge is power, and that's something that Cindy, referenced as, when she introduced me. That's something that I've always lived my life by, and it's something that I raise my children by. I've learned from personal experience that the more you know, the more confident you are, the more that you're able to control in your life as opposed to be controlled. And certainly, going to remember that with that knowledge, then you're better able to overcome feelings of financial insecurity, which has been certainly a big finding in this study that they conducted last year. We've considered the importance of understanding who you are financially as a way to help me and you better serve your needs. And we've covered some tips on preparing for your first meeting as the first step in getting started to create your financial future. And just, Allianz wanted to have this one last disclosure. Again, this is for information purposes only. Again, if you want to be able to refer back to this, I'll be able to share the slides with everybody after the webinar, all the folks that participated. So I guess this is the conclusion of the webinar itself, at least for their presentation. So I want to thank you for being here. I do want to now, if you have any questions, open it up. It's probably easier if you use the chat. If you had any questions regarding anything that was covered today, any financial preparation type questions, feel free to go ahead and ask those in the chat. And if any come up later, certainly feel free to reach out to me, phone, email, text. Again, there's no service fees for anything that I do for you. I'm a resource for you.
Okay, let's get those questions. And if nobody has any, we'll certainly end the program. But I am going to, after this recording is rendered, it will be located on our school site at cindybishopworldwide.com to instructors and then to Gary's page where it will be below his information. He has some other ones there as well. So, but it'll take a few days.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Cindy. And like I said, I'll also provide a copy of the PowerPoint presentation to folks that participated today. Also, too, Allianz had put together a tips brochure that goes with this particular presentation. So I will be sure to attach that to the follow-up thank you email I send out to today's participants.
All right. Well, if there's no questions, I suppose we'll end, and everybody can be looking for your emails and also for the repeat of the presentation. It was asked, how do you advise women on having their own financial savings and investments separate from their spouses?
Okay, it's a very good question, and that's one that actually comes up quite often. Most families do have combined uh, financial savings and investments, and it's difficult for them to recognize that each partner should be able to have that same ability on their own. And so oftentimes it's a conversation with both partners about their own strategies and the value of it. Now, more often than not, what we find, especially in today's environment where both women and men are working, some of it's a lot easier because their corporations or companies are providing, say, for instance, 401k or some other type of tax deferred type retirement. So many of the profession itself is automatically creating already kind of that separate investment type of a structure separate from the family. So that does kind of make it a little bit easier to have that discussion with folks. But I do recognize that it's not easy. It's something where both couples have to see the value and benefits of it. More often than not, what they'll do is they'll set aside money for both of them. So they'll take a look at their overall household income, and then they will typically allocate perhaps money that each of them can use for certain things. And oftentimes some of that's going to be investment strategies. Oftentimes they're going to have insurance products that will also provide tax-free income for retirement years. So there are different vehicles that can be looked at as part of the discussion as well. And oftentimes when we have those discussions, both partners see the benefit in it. So hopefully that answers the question. The bottom line, it's a difficult conversation to have, but discussing it with both individuals at the same time goes a long way to making it easier.
Well, we do things individually and together. And it really depends on, it's really a personal conversation with you, because it's kind of like what's their favorite restaurant. It really is a personal thing. It really depends on what their personal goals are.
Right. And oftentimes I try to approach it from a problem solving perspective. So for many, and again, being a fellow real estate agent myself, it's one reason why I'm really passionate about working with other realtors, is because I see the challenges. Most real estate agents lose sight of the fact that they are an actual business, that they are truly an independent business person. And with that, they have their own business needs and requirements. And so there are, again, problems associated with being a business separate from being a married couple, and separate from being employed somewhere else. So I think oftentimes trying to identify the different problems and taking a kind of a problem solving approach is a great first step in sort of tackling this issue and making it a lot easier for both parties to recognize the value and really embrace the steps that go towards solving those problems, which helps everybody in the long run.
All right, everybody, we've got, thanks for the question. And you can ask them of Gary privately and directly, just give him a holler. And I'm going to end this program now, and everybody have a great week.
Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, Cindy.
You're welcome.